And welcome in, everyone, to RedRaiders.com. I'm Zach Long. This is Nick Talbot coming to you from TD Ameritrade Park in Omaha, Nebraska. And you are on the Rager Dykes Auto Group Omaha Report. And Nick Talbot, Texas Tech not going to play tomorrow against TCU at 2 o'clock. But today the atmosphere already pretty festive here in Omaha. Got tailgating going on behind us. And here shortly, Texas, fellow Big 12 Conference member, going to take on UC Irvine, followed by Louisville and Vanderbilt, hopefully. As you can tell by the inland hurricane trying to blow the camera into the state of Iowa, we have some weather issues today in Omaha.
Yeah, the winds are already starting to pick up. The weather's supposed to start around 5 p.m. today with some heavy rains, and you know it's never a good sign when the Weather Channel is in Omaha with you. No, you see their storm tracking units out here and you go, you may have a problem. Possibility of large hail, tornadoes, all that good stuff later. We'll keep you advised if that affects the schedule in any way and impedes the Texas Tech TCU game on Sunday at 2 o'clock. Speaking of that game, we're close enough now after all the hubbub and opening ceremonies. We can get down to discussing this game, and this is a big one for Texas Tech and TCU. They're very familiar with each other. There is a lot of respect between these staffs, Nick. So much, though, that yesterday TCU coach Jim Schlossnagle tries to take on a comedic role with that respect.
Tim's team is very, very deep. His pitching staff it's a pitching staff that I really like because they can do a lot of different things relative to who they're playing or whatever the matchup is at home plate. So honestly, with that pitching staff, he probably shouldn't lose a game here.
So as you can see right there, Jim Schlossnagle gets a pretty good laugh out of Tim Tadlock as he just kind of puts his head down and shakes it. Because here's the truth of it. Coming into this World Series, something you and I discussed was TCU's pitching staff is actually the most frightening in this tournament. They have the depth to possibly go the whole way. They're going to go a little different, though, on Sunday against Texas Tech. They're going to go with Morrison over Finnegan. A slight surprise, but not a huge one.
Yeah, Morrison's obviously been one of the aces of this team. He has a 1.32 ERA. But he struggled against Tech. He pitched 2 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, walked 4, and Tech really was able to get to him this season.
But like we said, since then, Morrison has been nails. He's been the Friday night starter for this TCU staff. And when he spoke to the players and coaches yesterday from Texas Tech, they're not going to buy into that first-time results. They know this is a heck of a pitcher.
Brandon's, they've both pitched the opening game of series. Morrison pitched on Friday night almost all of last year. He's the Big 12 pitcher of the year. He kind of does unique things, as Tim mentioned, and Brandon is a completely different pitcher. So for us, it's more about, where we think guys match up with the teams that are in our bracket and how guys are pitching lately. Again, there's really, at this level, they're really interchangeable, and just feel like right now that's the way we're going to go with Preston.
I mean, he's been lights out ever since then, so, I mean, he's going to be good. We just got to put good at-bats together.
I don't think it's really that big of a deal. It definitely can relieve some pressure just because it's like we've seen these guys already 4 times this year. But other than that, it's not that big of a deal.
They just told me that Finnegan was throwing, then Morrison's throwing. Yeah, we side armor, I think. We've seen them, so, I mean, we're pretty comfortable, and I'm sure they're pretty comfortable. They've seen us, too, so it's going to be a great game.
So, Nick, now that we know the pitching matchup is set up, of course, Texas Tech's Chris Sadberry against Morrison from TCU should be a heck of a game. But for Texas Tech, really, when you look at the keys, they have to stay calm. They've spoke about this all year. It's just a baseball game. You just got to play inning by inning, strike by strike. But let's be honest, this is not Dan Law Field behind us or a Big 12 venue. This is one of the meccas of college sports, and that's a little tougher than it says it is. You got to stay calm and play their game. That's a tough task.
It certainly is. And then one thing Coach Tadlock addressed yesterday when he was talking about practice time, he'd hoped they had more than 50 minutes to be able to get used to this venue. TCU, of course, came in 2010 when it was still Rosenblatt, but they have been here before, whereas Texas Tech is still getting used to the big
stage, so to speak. Yeah, exactly. And so much so that yesterday Tim Tadlock, he is gathering his hitters out there during practice, and he reminded them, this is not Rosenblatt Stadium. This is a big ballpark, hard to hit balls out of, and he told his kids singles are going to win this NCAA tournament. And what did you say this morning in terms of history of home runs in this ballpark?
There's never been a home run hit dead center field. Between 375 and 408, nothing's going out.
So tomorrow you're going to have to keep the ball on the ground, and base hits are going to win this game. And in terms of keeping calm, they know it's going to be tough, but this is a task that Texas Tech has lived up to all year.
I don't think it helps because they're just as familiar with us. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of equal playing ground. It's in a different place, different state, different environment, obviously bigger stakes as far as that goes. So, but rhythm and timing's all about. I mean, that's what baseball's about. And if it can help you a little bit, being familiar, absolutely. You just don't think we'll really know that until after the game.
I think just relax, don't get too anxious, and enjoy, just play baseball. I've been saying it the whole time. Just go out there and play, have fun.
It doesn't really matter how we're playing. In a stage like this and the stakes this high, everybody's going to be bringing their best. So we're just excited to get going.
We've had a lot of people telling us congratulations and how good we've been and all these things throughout the week. And at some point, we need to get our feet back on the ground and understand we got a game on Sunday.
So, Nick, as you can see, Texas Tech and TCU ready for this first-round College World Series matchup. When you look at the game itself, though, what do you think is a big key for Texas Tech?
Well, everyone's going to be talking about the pitching, but what they really need to do, even though it's a big ballpark, is they got to swing the bats. Eric Gutierrez and Tyler Nalzani really have to come through some big clutch hits, and that'll be able to win the game for them.
Exactly. I think we've been waiting for that offensive explosion from Texas Tech the entire postseason, and you hope, if you're a Red Raider fan, that happens on Sunday at 2 o'clock against TCU. But first, though, we got to get through the first-round matchups here on Saturday. Texas versus UC Irvine, Vandy versus Louisville. That's hoping if the weather behaves itself. And then, of course, tomorrow, Texas Tech and TCU will get after it at 2 p.m. and then following a pretty good baseball game, Virginia and Ole Miss. But for now, though, we're going to bid you farewell and get you off and going for your pregame festivities for the Texas Tech and TCU game. For Nick Talbot, I'm Zach Long from Omaha, Nebraska. This has been the Rigger Dykes Auto Group Omaha Report on RedRaiders.com.